be prepared because we're going to have some suspensions. The suspension rate is going to be higher because I'm going to be telling the schools to put the kids out. So when the suspensions get higher, don't be surprised because I'm the one who told them, like, I expect it because we can't teach if the students, if their behavior, like we need time to make sure that we're teaching the kids the behavior that we're expecting them to do. And teachers don't have time to do that while you are teaching them in the classroom. Like, so we got to figure out who else is going to be in the school or who else are we going to allot to schools so that they have that support, so that someone's teaching the kids, this is how you should be in this environment. So it's interesting. We'll see what comes out of that. Hey there, Lamb. How are you?
I'm excited to be here. You sound like a grumpy old man that I know. Where'd you learn that from? What?
Probably the person talking. You know how you always told me, like you would always tell me, like, well, look, this is what it's going to be, and if you don't like it, then you should do something different, right? So now we're telling, and when I'm saying that, yeah, I start laughing because you used to say to us all the time, like, yeah, you can't continue at this rate and think that you're going to get something different as your result.
Exactly. What's, arduous is double loop theoretical framework, which, in common terms is the theory of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I mean, that's not on them, that's on you. And too many times I've said to parents, when parents would say to me, but suspension's not good for my child. Ma'am, I never claimed that it was. Suspension's good for the rest of us. We need a break from your child.
And that's what I told them today. So they were really quiet because I said, look, just prepare yourself. Like, I know we want, everyone wants, we all want the kids to stay in school, but it's not going to happen. And I'm going to approve for them to play students out of school. So prepare yourself.
As we'll learn in 603, Dr. Barnes may be with me in 603, as we'll learn in 603, schooling is a group activity. The rights of the group supersede the rights of the individual. And if your child can't behave so the rest of us can have a chance to learn, then we'll have to part ways with your child for a while. This is the way it works. We don't want to. We'd like to work toward restorative justice, but that's up to you and your child. Remembering that we're trying to help you educate your child, but you got to be a willing participant in that. Well, good evening, everybody. I've seen some of you with your principals, and I appreciate those who have scheduled visits. For those who haven't, you need to get on with that. See, tomorrow we've got Megan tomorrow and Laura. Now, Laura, I hope I won't be late. I've been trying to keep these, fairly short, and so, because I can't miss seeing Matt Reichert tomorrow. I cannot miss seeing him at John Chavis Middle School. Let me see who's texting me. And so I can't miss. Matt Reichert was part of the Charitable Mafia from 2012. That's been a long time ago. We had 6 in the same group. Now that bunch, they were wild and crazy. So I can't wait to get to with Megan tomorrow. I can't wait to get to see Matt tomorrow. But let me see what this is. I don't know what that means.
Dr. Lamb, is this part of the test for us to put this together with you and our principals, or is there a way for you to reach out to our principals? And
this is a test.
I figured it was.
This is a test. I mean, part of this is, can you get it done? I've given you a task, and I don't want to have to tell you but once, because superintendent's not going to tell you but one time. And after that, there is no honey baby please in this business. The superintendent will tell you once, and that will be the only time. And what he'll do is, now he'll tell her the second time, but to your replacement. You know, again, we go back to new ox. You understand? I've made that reference before, haven't I? Have I not made? If I hadn't, let me explain what new ox means. In the Bible, you know, it says you're supposed to go to church on Sunday. But now, if you have an emergency, if your ox is in the ditch, you can get your ox out of the ditch. But if your ox is in the ditch every Sunday, that's not an emergency. You need a new ox. And so, if I have to tell you more than one time as the superintendent what I want you to do, then then I need a new ox. That's on me as a superintendent. So I'm just, so yes, this is, fill in the blank, insert metaphor here, whatever metaphor you want to use. But yes, this is a test. It's an IQ test. It's whatever. But yes, you got to get this done. I mean, I could do this myself. I know all these people already. I could get this done myself. It's not about what I can do. I'm an old man. I've already done it. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I'm over it. This is about you now. Our job is to train you. I can't go to work with you every day. I'm too old. I have to go to the bathroom too often. So I can't go to work with you every day. So, this is part of getting down and walking for yourself. Just like, you get grown, you're grown now. I gotta cut you loose. So that's part of it. So we're having coaching session tonight. I've got an agenda. So before I get to my agenda, did y'all do Zoom teams yet? No, that would be no. This means no, and this means yes. So that would be no then. All right, we got it. All right, so we'll do that tonight as well. All right, so on our agenda, let's look at our agenda. Let me share my screen and we'll move on. All right, let me get that off there. All right, so the first document here. All right. So first thing is Outlook stacks emails. If you've never used Outlook email before, you need to understand that it's not like Google or any of the other the normal email servers. Microsoft Outlook stacks emails. Now, what that means is you're going to lose stuff. You're going to say, well, I know I sent that, or I know I got that. Where is it? Well, every time somebody attaches to an email, it creates a thread. And so when I send you something, if you respond back and just hit reply and respond back, my email that I sent leaves my sent folder and attaches in my inbox to the email that you sent back. That's just the way. And every email that comes in from somebody else goes under their name then. And so you got to kind of, scratch your head and figure out, who did I send these to? I'll look under their email or their response back to them. Understand that that's the way Outlook works. It's aggravating. You'll lose stuff. You'll swear, I know I got that email. Well, you did. You just don't know where to find it. And no, it won't be in your sent folder or it will be on a thread inside of somebody else's email. You got to remember who was on the email thread that way. Yes, it's aggravating, and no, I can't fix it. So I have cautioned you. So I don't expect to get any calls or emails saying I lost my email. Yeah, I told you would. And so I can show you how that works briefly. Let me stop my share. And so I better share and do that. Let me see. Let me move off of that document and back to my email. And so this is Outlook email. And so let me go to one here. And so you can see, even though I responded back to her, it's not under my name, it's under her email. It's stacked this email that I sent on the one from her, which is pretty easy. That one's pretty easy. But when you get one of these, I had one geared up a minute ago, and then that's what that was bothering me here. It'll take me but a second here. And so you can see it stacks those with the ones that come in afterwards. And then, and so this one, this was an email. These two emails got stacked onto this one here. And so I won't be able to find Kim's email because it's stacked on Barbara's email now. But we were all in the same email chain and we're on the same thread. So if I go looking for this email from Kim, I won't be able to find it. I can find the one, and as you can see, it's attached. It is threaded onto. Just like when I send out for the MELS faculty meeting, when I send that out and people respond back to it, as you can see, look at this thread. Somewhere in the bottom of this thread is the actual first email that I sent. But look how many people have attached to that thread because there were so many people on it. Now, I've got to figure out when's the last time I sent this thing or try to find my original email that I sent. It does this to save space. And it is, yes, it is aggravating. And yes, it's archaic. And yes, it's last century, but that's Outlook email. So what you do is this. When you get stuff like this, you take and you make you some folders over here. You see all these folders I've got? You make you some folders and you put them in there and it'll stay. Either that or copy them and put them on a hard disk. But if there's something that comes along that's got an important attachment on it that you get sent and you say, well, that attachment, just like this one right here, that attachment's important. Download it and save it. Don't assume that you're going to be able to go back and find it in your email. We send you a lot of stuff, a lot of attachments. We have a lot of stuff and a lot of attachments. And so when you get them, first thing you do, download the attachments, save them on a disk. Again, save it on your hard drive on your laptop. Also, save it, have a thumb drive in your computer. Back yourself up every time. I can't tell you, I cannot tell you the number of times that we get students, I've lost my work. My work computer is crashed. My thumb drive went down. My hard drive blew up. You know, it happens all the time. Make sure that you've got your stuff. Again, we're training you to change jobs to be in charge, to be a leader now. You can't be a servant leader and lead by example if you're always hunting your stuff. That's just not acceptable in this line of work. You got to come, if you're planned and prepared, great. If you're not, you got to get planned and prepared here, folks. This is just one of those technology quirks that you're just going to have to, you know, there's no good to complain, just get it done. All right, so that was the first item on that. Second thing is, anybody have any questions about Blackboard? Questions about Blackboard? No questions? Well, let me go to Blackboard right fast.
Dr. Lamb?
Yes.
I do have one question. If we completed the Blackboard quiz, do we need to do it for both sections?
No.
Okay.
That's just for you. That's just for you. Thank you, though. That's a good question, Daphne. No. Blackboard quiz is just kind of a primer for you. Once you've completed it, you're good to go. You are good to go. All right, so Blackboard, Zoom teams, does anybody have an issue if I assign your teams alphabetically? We'll want 4 teams, and so that'll be 2 teams of 4 and 2 teams of 3. Does anybody have a problem with, I'm just going to start with the first one, which is Savannah, and go down the line. All right, so that's what we'll do here. So very quickly, let me do this. I'll do it in, I'll do this. I'm working out of Dr. Tobias's shell right now. I'll make the edits. And so let me get this up, minimize it. So the first team will be Benson, Abernathy, Benson, and Boyles.
That's the dream team.
I like it already. All right. And then Jordan line. Model. And the last 2 will have 4 each. Share screen. That. I don't And then Morton Reed Shearer's need. Morton Reed Shearer's need. And then team 4 will be the last 4, will be 7 film. All right, how's that? That will be your Zoom teams that you will do your peer reviews with this semester. There they are, right there. I just put that in your class shell. I'm gonna copy it, put it over here. Zoom teams under the peer review, submit. So there it is there. So here are all of your peer reviewing materials. So you have one that says, this is the peer review process. This is how it works. Now, here's the first and probably only time you will applaud me tonight. I have made an executive decision, since I am an executive and it's good to be king. I have made an executive decision that you will only do one peer review of each of the 4 tasks of the app cell. You don't peer review task 5 or the last task because it's just a reflection. And so, but you have to peer review of the people of your team. You pick one person and you review their task 1, 2, 3, and 4 when we get there. We normally have you do 2, but that's in a 16-week semester. And so in order to save you time, you will only peer review 1. Now try not to do the same person every time. You know, kind of rotate between the different people in your group when you peer review their work, but you will only do 1. Now the peer review process says that you will review each task 2 times. I'm telling you, you only have to do 1. And I've set up the drop boxes that way as well. You only have to do 1. That will save you time. And you only have to do 1 Zoom peer review. You'll just combine task 1 and task 2, and you will talk to one another after you have completed the written ones and posted those. You will then have a Zoom team meeting where you will share the results of your review of the first 2. So that means that we have eliminated 4 peer reviews and 1 video review. So you will have 1 written review of tasks 1 through 4 and 1 video review of tasks 1 and 2 together. That's all we'll have to do this semester. I mean, once you do it a couple times, kind of like BuzzFeed, you have to do it a couple times. It's really not a lot of value in that. We move on from peer reviewing pretty quick. You might do a couple next semester. You definitely won't do any with me. I have a lot more in-depth stuff for you to do than peer reviews that take a lot of time and a lot harder. You know, suck it up, buttercup. It's time to get up and go. So we'll start out real slow, real easy. Let you do these, no sharp instruments, so you won't hurt yourself. But then it's going to get more and more difficult. We're going to have more and more high level things as you go. You're going to have to do case studies for me. And you're going to have to produce presentations for me when you get together and do your video collaborations. And so those get a lot more involved when you get to law and finance. And so again, it's a building process, not trying to scare you off, but I need for you to know that it won't always, I get students who, second semester, it's a lot harder than it was last semester. And your point is, again, it will get a little more difficult each time. Not more difficult, it'll just get more involved, a little more high level. And we expect you, as you know more, we expect you to do more, kind of like when you get into the business. Same deal. So I am going to share my screen and we will go back to Blackboard. So you will have a section. This is in your class. I'm also going to move it over to your coaching shell here just in a few minutes. I'll do that. But it tells you what the peer review process is, what you're doing. Here are your teams. Here's the template you use to review one another's work. Now you say, well, Dale, where's this work we're going to review? So let's go to Dr. Barnes's shell here. All right, so this is Dr. Barnes's shell, the one that says Barnes Clinical Internship Barnes, not the one that says 697. We don't use that one. All right, so when you go there, when you click on AppSell Tasks for Review, you upload your work here. And when that work is uploaded there, it will appear in discussion board. And so when you go to discussion board and you click on this one right here, it will be there. That's where you go and pick up your colleague that you're going to review theirs. When they tell you, I posted mine, you come here. I'll clear these out too, by the way. Now, these won't actually show up on your version or Dr. Barnes if she's cleared them out. They only show up on mine. I can see everything. But when you click on this right here, and Savannah's going in to do Angie's, let's say, it'll be sitting right there and it'll have her name on it. You just click on it and her task form will pop right up for you. And you just download it and use the rubric that we give you. You read it and you comment on it, and then you post it back on that very thread where it says create thread. That's how you put it back. You put your review back there, and then you put your review in your assignment Dropbox where it says AppSell Evaluation Dropbox. It says right here, Task 1, Peer Review. You open that up and you drop it there, and that's how you get your grade. So you go retrieve it from the thread. You click on discussion board, you go there, you retrieve it, you review it, you put the review, you upload it back on the thread for the person, the author, so that you can give them your feedback. And then you bring it here and you get your grade on. Pretty simple process. Take the work down, read it, fill out the peer review. It's not a very long template. Brevity is prized here. You don't have to write War and Peace. Go back. This is your first foray into giving colleagues or giving adults feedback on their work. Why might that be important? Somebody, anybody.
In an administrative role, you're going to be evaluating teachers, peers.
You're going to be evaluating adults, and you have to be able to have those critical conversations with them about their work. Eventually you're going to come to understand that until, as an administrator, you can let somebody go simply because they can't teach. Might be a good person, might have a mortgage, might have a family, might be a fun person to have on faculty. But until you can let somebody go simply because they can't teach, you can't be an administrator. You have to be able to have critical conversations. Now, we want to improve them. Next semester, we'll talk about that's staff development. The AppTel is about staff development, about building a growth plan and action plans, and trying to work for the improvement of teachers, as the law says, 115C288. Your job as principal to work for the instructional improvement of teachers. But you got to understand. You've got to start learning how to give critical feedback, what we used to call come to Jesus meetings. Now we call them critical conversations. But you've got to be able to have those. And so here's my metaphor for the evening. When I go to Wilmington, when I leave my home in Lake Norman or here at Lake Lure, whenever I'm in the western part of the state and I head out to Raleigh and I go around the outer loop and I make the turn we're 40 turns from east to west or from west to east and goes then from north to south and heads toward Wilmington. The first road that I come to there on the right is Jones Sausage Road. I pass it on 40 all the time. You know what they do at Jones Sausage? They make sausage. You know what we do in public school? We teach kids. That is our core competency. That's our hedgehog. Whatever, what is it? Collins Good to Great, the hedgehog concept. Well, that's ours. We teach kids. And if you don't think that scores don't matter, then you're in the wrong business. There's a reason why we keep score. There's a reason why we have report cards. Your job is to get achievement out of kids in your school as a school administrator. The first part of that is being able to have critical conversations with people about the quality or lack thereof of their work. If they turn something in and put a task in and you pull it down and review it and you think, geez, this should have been written in crayon, the level that this is, then you need to say this should have been written in crayon, but nicer than that. You have got to learn to start being able to have critical conversations with adults about their performance and the quality of their work. We're going to start from night one, understanding what our job is as a school administrator. It's not about ball games. It's not about lunch. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about teaching and learning. If you're going to create a culture of teaching and learning in your building, that's what this is all about. The very first evidence we have you work on, we'll start tonight, the app cell. You're going to do a data dive of your standardized test scores and figure out what your most critical need is and put a learning program in place. That's called closing the gap. Every school principal in the state of North Carolina is required to do that every year, to do a data dive of their own stores and do a local initiative to close the gaps in their scores. Why do we do that? Because that's what we do. That's our sausage. What do they do at Jones Sausage? They make sausage. What do? We teach kids, period. If you don't understand that, you have selected to move into the wrong profession. If you don't like competition, if you don't like pressure, if you don't like having critical conversations with adults, this is not for you. There's a lot of good people in this business who don't want to do this. I respect that. That's all right, but that's not, you can't say, well, I'll put that on my API. That's what I'll do. I'll just have my assistant principal handles instruction do that. No, you won't. Because your area superintendent or your deputy, Dr. Balknight, will be out having a critical conversation with you. It's no longer the teacher's problem that they can't teach. It's your problem that they can't teach. So the peer reviewing process is not so much about we expect you're going to learn a lot or that you're going to feed back a lot to the people. Well, we're going to teach the evidences so that they'll learn from that. But you've got to get in the habit of being able to give written feedback on people's performance. And then the next step after the first couple of these is, in a video way to be able to do it. Now, it's actually easier on video than it is face to face, but it's a progression. It's a progression. And so that's what peer reviewing is all about. So anybody have any questions on Blackboard? You will go in to Dr. Barnes's shell under App Cell Task for Review. You will upload your task one by next Sunday. That would be what, 7 days, 9 days from now? We work from Sunday to Sunday. And so if we looked at our pacing guide, you're going to have, by next Sunday night at 9 o'clock, you're going to have App Cell Task 1 uploaded in her shell under App Cell Task 1, Task for Review. And then once you put those in there, all of you start putting them in there, then you will select the person in your group that you're going to review, and you will go in to discussion board, click on theirs, it will pop up, you will download it, you will review it, and then you will upload your review back on that thread, and then you will take that review under on your evaluation Dropbox over there under App Cell, and you will load it in, and you will get your grade for having done that. It's a pretty simple process. Questions you have for me on the peer reviewing process? All right, let's move on. We got a long way to go and a short time to get there. All right, so back to my agenda. All right. So on your own, you need to go to Chrome and set up a Gmail account if you don't have one, so that you can create your own YouTube account in order to upload videos. We do not trade the MP4s, we trade the links to the videos. So you need to make sure that you do that. If you need help, just let me know. I'm not as grumbly as I appear. I will be glad to help you with whatever technology needs you have. And we will do that. And so what you do then is once you have a YouTube account, and you see mine, there's that D right there. You come to YouTube, and once you have processed your Zoom video, you simply hit the create upload button once you have established an account. And it will change to the Creator Studio, to your channel. You select your files. You will always find them underneath your Zoom folder that Zoom automatically creates. And so I'm going to do Heather's. Okay, this was a visit that I made with Heather. Here is her MP4 file. And I will open it. And it will eventually, see, it will create. So this link that it creates right here is what we trade. That's what we trade. We don't trade the videos. The videos take up way too much space. And so we have places in Blackboard where you can upload links. But you will share links. When we ask you for a video of something, we want the link. We do not want the MP4. And once you put that in there, and of course you put it in, and you can take and copy the link now, and then you hit the next screen and the next screen and the next screen. Make sure all of your videos are public, and then publish. And it'll take a few minutes to upload that. And when it's done, you can share that link. So that's a video of Heather's site visit with me that we did at that's a previous one, but that's the way that works. So we've got to get to the point where you can do that. That's the trick, is that you need a Gmail account and then a YouTube account so that you can upload and trade links rather than try to trade MP4s. MP4s, Outlook is really wonky. You can't email them. Blackboard won't take them. They've got them banned in Blackboard because of the storage issues. So really the only way that we can trade video is by those links. Anybody have any questions on setting up a Gmail account so that you use that account then to set up your YouTube account? Everybody's got it? Everybody
Dr.
say
Lamb.
amen. Yes.
Our Gaston County accounts or Gmail, is that we need to do a personal, or can we use that work account?
My understanding is you can use the work account.
Okay.
You should be able to do a Gmail. I mean, do a YouTube off your Gaston
Right.
Gmail account. Well, I said y'all
Okay.
got Google email. You should be able to do that. Now, if it doesn't work, you'll have to create a private. If it doesn't work, I don't think it'll be a problem. We've not experienced that before, but different school districts have different filters on their email and their servers. And so if it is filtered, you'll have to change. But that's a great question. All right, so Zoom accounts. Everybody knows how to do Zoom. Everybody's got a Zoom account. Obviously, you're with me tonight. Everybody knows how to set up. Now, you've got free accounts, I'm guessing. I don't guess the district has bought you one. Now, understanding those free accounts where you get 39 or 40 minutes with them when you're recording. So you got to be brief. Now, in order to get more than that, you have to have a pro account that you pay for. We don't require you to get a pro account. So if you happen to have something that's going to last more than 39 minutes, plan ahead and create 2 links and do 2 different recordings, because it won't let you extend. You'll probably have to change the name, but that's the way you get around the 39 minutes. I'm guessing that when you do your video peer review of task 1 and 2, there's a possibility that it'll last more than 39 minutes because all of you need to share. But if you think it will, go ahead, and whoever the Zoom master is, create 2 links up front, name them a little bit like, video 1 and video 2, and create 2 links so that when the first one expires, the 39 minutes is up, you can jump over on the second. That's what we do. Now, again, we don't have that problem. Obviously, put a 39-minute limit on me I'd never get through. So We have pro accounts that have unlimited time. But if you want one of those, you can invest in them. I think they're $25. They're relatively cheap. But otherwise, you need to use two. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question about that. Because we're a Google district, like we always use Google Meet and we can record things in there if we need to. Can we just use Google Meet since we're all Gaston County
If
people?
it'll upload in YouTube, that'd tickle me pink. If it'll upload in YouTube.
Okay,
It should, because they're all Google products.
right. And Google Drive will create a link. Sorry, my dog's being crazy out here at the door, but it'll create a link.
Yep.
I'll test it. I can just check it out, see if it works.
Now, understanding is because y'all are all in the same district, we can do this. If you weren't in the same district, you could not do this. We would have to use Zoom. But as long as everybody, since everybody's email is all the same and everybody's technology is the same, yes, you can use the Google product to do your video, and that will be fine, because all of you have it. The problem is when everybody doesn't have it, and obviously y'all all do. So yeah, that's a good idea. That'll work. But again, what we're just interested in is the link from YouTube. How you get there is up to you, but you just got to get there. We can't stop it to MP4. We have no way to handle MP4, the actual video. All right, we're good on that one. Back to the screen share again. Okay. All right, task stream. Okay. All right. Everybody's got a task stream account. I've set them all up. Issues found. There it is. All right. All right. So when you sign in to www.taskstream.com, this is what comes up where you sign in. You use your username and password for TaskStream. Don't change it to something crazy. Don't change it at all if you can help. Or change it to something that you already know that you're using. When you set your account up, I'm guessing Ms. Turbyfield gave you a username and password. She usually sets them up with your Gardner Web email account. Don't change it to something else that we don't know about, where we can't get in it. But if you do, we'll have to call TaskStream and they'll have to get you in and all that business. So don't do anything crazy with your username and password for this. So when you sign in, I have hundreds, but you will have one DRF. You will have one. I'm gonna switch over to the author view. So mine will look like yours looks like. And so yours looks exactly like this. And again, remember, there are tabs here. We don't do comments in the DRF portfolio, but I can't disable that because it disables other things. And so I can't do that. But you work off your work screen. Amazing how that happens. You work off your work screen. That means that you upload your work from here, or you fill out your competency analysis, or you do your School of Ed dispositions. You do those from here. Now, once you submit something for evaluation, like your competency analysis or your School of Ed disposition or your app cell, when you get your scores results, it will come back on this page that says, guess what? Scores results. So those are the two pages that you will use on your DRF portfolio. You be on your work page when you upload stuff. When you get the results, you will be on the results page. It will go there automatically when you get an email that your whatever's been graded. And if you want to check on it, you can just click over there and see if it's been graded. And it'll tell you if it's been graded or not. And so work screen. This is where you will put your app cell when Dr. Tobias at the end of the last week, when she says it's gone through, turn it in, and you've got all 5 tasks and your final narrative document that has all 5 tasks put together. It looks like you wrote it all at one time, and it's been turned in, checked for plagiarism and for references to make sure that they're right. When she says upload in task stream, this is where you will come. You'll click that button. You'll hit the attachment button.
Dr. Lamb, actually gonna do that.
You gonna do it?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna take care of all of that.
All right. So
Let her teach.
just in case, it's amazing. Just in case, I went ahead and put a turn it in your shell. So
Good
they can
stuff.
do the turn it in. So if we go to Dr. Barnes' shell, right here, I have the turn it in check there. So when you turn in all 5 of them, all the way down through here, the final versions of them, when you get when you've turned in this one with all 5, then you turn in this one that has them all 5 together into the turn it in, and she'll check it to make sure. Now, to be clear, for those of you who know what turn it in is, you will not get a report. Let me say that a second time. You will not get a turn it in report. Dr. Barnes will get the report. If there's a problem, she will contact you and y'all will work it out. Gardner Webb does not pay for you to get a report. If you have a private turn it in account and you say, well, what I'll do is I'll put it in my account first. I'll just look around them. And then when you put it in ours, it'll show up 100% match. That turn it in is a one-shot deal. Regardless of whose turn it in it is, it doesn't matter. Once you put it out there, it's out there, and turn it in. So this is don't put your first task in. This is when you have your final evidence narrative, tasks 1 through 5, all of them together, you use turn it in. And we've got it built into her shell so that you can do that. To make sure that everything, that there's no plagiarism, it's not usually a plagiarism issue. Generally what it is making sure that you have cited all of your references and that you have done that correctly so that it doesn't show up as that you claim credit for somebody else's work. Unintentional. 99.999% of the time, it's just you just didn't do your reference correctly. I don't know that in the last 11 years, I don't know that we've had but 1 or 2 plagiarism things. And that we certainly hadn't had any in the last 5 or 6 years. That's just not a thing nowadays. And so, but making sure that you get your references cited correctly is the deal. That's what that's about. So you will do those. When you get it, when Dr. Barnes says it's ready, share my screen again. When Dr. Barnes says it's ready to go, you come over here, hit the attachment button under the app cell, upload from my computer, add files, and she'll work with you on this, or I will, either one. And you come over here to your files where you got your stuff, and right here, I'm going to find my final evidence narrative. I'm gonna upload it, upload and close, save and return. Are you ready to submit your work? I am. And then I hit my submit. Yes, submit my work. And it's jumped over the scores results, and it says that you have a submission. And then you simply go back to your work page and you have submitted it. But somewhere within 36 hours, you'll get a response back with either the grade or it was returned for revision because you put the wrong one in or something was wrong. We never have them turned back just because they aren't good enough. Usually it's you've uploaded the wrong one. But as you can see, it's got a little lock on there now. It's been uploaded. Now, if you upload the wrong one, you figure it out, and you're worried, well, Dale's going to be mad as fire because I uploaded the wrong one. They're going to send it back. Yeah, I am. But I will be much madder if you don't call me or email me and say I uploaded the wrong one. If you do that, that doesn't bother me at all. I'll just go in and cancel your submission before it gets graded, before the state grader gets to it. So if you realize I uploaded the wrong one, dang it, then just let me know. I can cancel it. It's a lot better than them opening it up and start reading it and then get to the end and it's only got 4 tasks rather than 5. You forgot to put the last one on it. Now that's, it's don't worry about, I'd a lot rather you tell me that I put the wrong one in than us have to go back and fix it later. So try to get the right one. If you didn't, let me know and I can fix it right quick. Competency analysis is done the last week after you completed task 5 of the app cell. You go in and do that. So competency analysis is really simple. You complete this form. And look, all you got to do is say, I met it or I didn't meet it. These competencies here. It's just that simple. It's not rocket science. But once you have finished task 5, you can honestly say, yeah, I did that, or no, I didn't do that. Once you have completed this, you will do that. You just self-assess yourself, whether you did it or not, and then save and return. Again, ready to submit, and then submit your work. And there you go, and that one will be done. Now, you can do your School of Ed dispositions later tonight. This is a self-assessment of where you are now. You can go in and complete this form now. And it asks you about your learner development. Are you unsatisfactory, need improvement, meet expectations, or do you exceed them? And it tells you what learner development means. And in all of these different things, you can assess yourself right now. Now, you said, Dale, this seems too easy. There's got to be a catch. Well, of course there's a catch. The deal on assessing yourself is this. If you say I need improvement or I meet expectation, we can go from that. If you say that you exceed expectation before you've even ventured into an administrative ed program, I can buy that too, but you're going to have to tell me why you think you exceed expectation. And it better be related back to the state administrative standards. You're going to have to write me a narrative that says, this is why I exceed standards before I even go through a program. And you might. We've had some who do. Now, understanding, we have some people not in this program, in the master's program, but on the add-on program, when they get in their first semester, some of those, many of them already have their doctorates. Many of them are already assistant principals or curriculum directors or those things. And so some of them do actually exceed, and they can tell you why. But we've yet to ever have a master's student that exceeded the first night before they even went through the program. We've yet to have one, but you might be that one. Marcia's probably that one. She's probably that one. She's sitting there thinking right now, I know I'm that one. That's exactly what I saw it all that look on her face. Marcia thinks she's the one that's going to exceed, and Marcia might be. And if you can tell me, if you can stress through the 8 executive standards, for North Carolina principals, if you can tell me through the lens of those standards why you exceed, then mark yourself as exceed. But if you mark yourself less than that, it needs improvement or meets, and most everybody's meets, then you just click and go on about your business and then submit it. But remembering, I'm going to be the person on the other end of that this semester, so I'm going to read those. If you tell me you exceed, I will assess whether you do or not. If you do, I'll mark you as exceed. But you got to tell me why. All right, share screen, go back again. All right, so those are the 3 things that you're going to do this semester. That's in your DRF portfolio. You can do your School of Ed dispositions later tonight. These 2 will not happen until the last week of the semester. You have to finish task 5 before you can do competency analysis. When you finish task 5 and put it all together and you get it approved by Dr. Barnes, it will go to the app cell folder. All right. Now, the other thing is, as I told you, this is for your evidence, as you have 6, the app cell, AppTel, OMA, skip cap, and PSYOP. Those are called evidences. Now, do not make the mistake of using the terms evidence and artifact interchangeably. They are not. you know, that would be like using salt and pepper interchangeably. They are not the same thing. They're not close to the same thing. They're not even related. An evidence is a written narrative that describes the work that you did as a school administrator for evaluative purposes. Let me say that again. An evidence is a written narrative for evaluative purposes, written for when you're being evaluated, that describes the work that you did as a school administrator. That's what an evidence is. That's what the DRF portfolio is for. An artifact is a thing, not for evaluative purposes, that is produced as the byproduct of the work of a school administrator. You say, Dale, where'd you get those crazy definitions? I got them from the North Carolina Principal, Assistant Principal Evaluation Manual, because this is the way you're going to be evaluated when you get your job. They're going to evaluate you on the basis of evidence and artifacts. When whoever comes out from the central office, whether it be Dr. Booker or Dr. Balknight or Dr. whoever comes out from the central office in Gaston County Schools to evaluate you, you're going to have to produce evidence, written narratives of what you did. And then they'll say, all right, now we'll review your artifacts. That manual says these are the artifacts that you will generate. School improvement plan is an artifact. The school budget is an artifact. You know, they're all the things that you produce. Now, we have artifacts that you will produce as a result of having done your evidences, the app cell this semester, and the 80 hours of clinical work at your building. You will produce artifacts. The best way to capture those is with a cell phone or a computer screenshot. An agenda for a meeting is an artifact. An email permission from your principal to start your first PLC, that's the first thing you'll do for the app cell. That's an artifact. All of those things, we have a list of those. So if we go to share screen, if we go to Dr. Tobias's shell, where it says MELS Handbook and Competency Folio Resources, it tells you where you will find your artifacts. Open-ended artifacts, it's those activities, and we got them paired so that we show you. If you have a meeting, it matches, it's an artifact for this one. If you've got an agenda or a picture of the meeting or a link to a video, don't put the video, but you can have links. If you have those things, then that's an artifact. And then we've got artifacts that come from the 6 evidences as well. Let's look at that one right quick. I think I showed you 4. Here are the artifacts that you will take from the apps. Email permission from your principal, a screenshot of that, that's an artifact. The agenda for your PLC, PLC minutes, pictures of a PLC meeting, your total data set of validated scores, what you use to do your data dive to come up with your most pressing need, your research study abstracts when you did your lit review and annotated bibliography, and pictures of video of your action plan. Again, I don't want the video, I want the link to the video. All these things are artifacts that you will generate this semester having done the app cell. It gets you in the habit of understanding. Take pictures, get screenshots, have proof of the work that you did. All right, and then we organize those in a competency folio of your making. And so now this video is again, the video is in your class shell. It's also in your clinical shell of how to go about setting up your competency folio. As you see, I've set everything up for you here, all the rubrics, got it. Everything is done here. So, but this is what you've got to do so that you will be the owner of your competency folio so you can publish and share it with others. You will eventually, when it's done, upload it over here. You will, and there's a specific process, and I'm not going to teach you that yet because I don't want you to do it, where you will bring that completed folio over here and it'll become part of your DRF portfolio. But it's done separately so that you have ownership and you can share it with a prospective employer. So to create your own folio, and Marsha's already done this, you simply click on You click on folios and web pages. It's not found in your DRF portfolio. You come up with a name. Create new, and again, the video's there, it's 2.5 minutes. This is the part that's the most critical. Custom templates designed by your learning community. I've already designed your template for you. Competencies for 21st century leaders. That's the one you pick. Continue. Marcia picked pencils the other day. I want a dinosaur. I'm gonna do a dinosaur for mine tonight. I'm gonna apply those changes. I'm gonna preview it. There it is. I'm good to go. Go out, come back in, and I find the one that I just, you won't have but one. I'll have to look for mine again. Fall 21 again.
So that's how that sample was created that is on the shell.
That is
Is
correct.
Okay.
And so when you come back, it'll be there waiting on you, and it's ready to start putting artifacts in there. So under communication artifacts, you got to put 3 in there. One app cell, one SIOP, one open-ended. It's, you know, so you need
Dale.
one artifact from the app cell, and one needs to be digital. Wait a minute. What about that email permission to your principal? Is that not a communication digital artifact from the app cell? Well, doggone, if I upload a screenshot of that, I've knocked that one out. It's just that simple. Now,
So Bill,
got-
I just want to add,
Yeah.
add something to that. So the fact that Dr. Lamb has already set it up for you and he tells you exactly which of the 3 to use, I recommend that you use one of those 3 and then you label it that way, because those of us that have been under Dale for some time now, when we grade, we want to know, it's going to make it easier for you. Like if you label it, this is the app cell, and then you give us the artifact for that goes with that. So then label, when you get finished with the PSYOP at the end, when you do the PSYOP, label it PSYOP and then continue that way. Because I noticed that as we have, some of us that have been grading for a while, we tend to then send it back to you if you haven't labeled it, because we want to get you into the habit of labeling it so that it makes it easier for the next grader. Okay. So begin to label those at the start, and then you don't have to go back and try and do it later on.
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Barnes. Thank you, Lisa. That's exactly.
problem.
It should say app cell, and if it's digital, it should say digital learning competency, or PSYOP digital, or just PSYOP competency if it's not digital, or open-ended digital. You know, we go back to, you know, the example from Manera, and that's what she's done. She's labeled hers. Now, I want the picture, and I want a brief description of what it is. This is me leading my PLC. Okay, that's app cell, digital learning competency. This is me leading my PLC. That's it. Boom. And there's a picture of you up in front of everybody. You know, that's what I want to see. You know, a picture's worth 1,000 words. This is not the place you argue your competency. This is you show us that you've done the work. That's what this folio is about. Please don't try to put anything under digital learning competencies. That's just left it there so you know what they all are. I have integrated them, the 17 of them, into the 21 of these. So change management, one of them's got to be a digital competency that meets this criteria. Conflict management, one of them's digital that has to meet this one. Read the prompt. Read the prompt. Now, there is no digital under delegation. There is, yeah, so read the prompt where they come, and as Dr. Barnes said, label them so we'll know what they are. Now, when you get done with this thing, now, the next question everybody asks me, can I put more than 63 in there? We'd love for you to put more than 63. Now, it's not 63 this semester. It's 63 over the course of 5 semesters, 3 for each one of those. You just do 12 this semester, and then next semester you finish that, and then you do 12 and you do 9, and then last semester you do all 21. together the last semester. So you'll do half of them for the first 4 semesters, like 12 and 9 or 10 and 10 or 10 and 11, till you get the hang of it. Now, if you want to do more than that, you should. Remember, this is your calling card. This will mean more than anything else that you can put in the hand of a prospective employer. This is the way, I mean, you know, this is the digital age. We're 21 years into the digital age. We talk about skills for 21st century leaders. Heck, we've been in the 21st century for 21 years now. This should be standard operating procedure, that we use this kind of technology, and that we simply send a prospective employer a link to our task stream folio, and they can see the work that we've done. They can see the items. They've seen that we've done these leadership things. This should not be a foreign concept for you folks. This is, you know, now when we first started this, we were the first to do it, but now everybody does this. Everybody caught up quickly because this is kind of the standard now. Nobody does face-to-face classes anymore and old chalk talks and things like that. Everybody just trades links now. Everybody does Zoom. Everybody creates digital portfolios of their work. I mean, this is all standard procedure. And if you don't know how to do it, I'm sure there's probably a 14, 15-year-old kid hanging around your neighborhood that you can pay to teach you this stuff, since they all know this stuff. You know, it's really simple. But the whole notion here is you've got to document and catalog your trip. Just like those of you I've met with you and their principals, and thank you for that. You know, you've got to document your 80 hours when you're out there with them. I mean, you've got to do that. All right, that's my hour on technology, but we got to get to the app sale. It's my understanding, Dr. Barnes, y'all did not cover the app sale Tuesday night.
No, we did not. I did not before I left early from her class. So I would defer back to all of you. She didn't go over the app sale with you, correct?
The first of your evidences, she did not.
Daphne, you're saying something, but I'm not quite sure.
She did tell us, like, we went over what the expectation was going to be for task 1, but she did say that we would get more clarity on that tonight.
All right, that's good enough. So let me share my screen and we'll get started. I'm gonna go ahead and always, when you leave task stream, log out. I told you that before. Please remember that. Don't ever leave task stream up and running, even for 5 minutes. If you got to get up and go to the bathroom, get out of task stream. You can just click the sign in button when you come back. If it freezes you out, then you will have trouble getting back in. Let me close some of this stuff and get back over here. We don't need that one either. Okay, we're through with that one. All right, so I'm going to have to make a change to this one. All right, that was the only thing. So here's your pacing guide for this semester. We'll start with that first. All right, so tonight we're going to do app sale instruction. Reminder that app sale task 1 draft is due week 2. So the end of week 1 is always on. So this week, the first week ends on Sunday night at 9, and so week 2 ends at Sunday night at 9. So you've got this weekend, all next week, and then all next weekend to get this done. That's a lot of time. That's how much time we normally give, no matter how long the semester is. You've got 2 weekends and a week to get the first task done. And then after that, it'll be weekly. And so by Sunday week, so today is Today is Thursday, October 14th. And so by Sunday, October 24th at 9 p.m., you should have task 1 put in Dr. Barnes' shell under app cell task 1 for instructor review. Don't put it in the evaluation Dropbox. Put it for review. And that's where you will go on Sunday night later or Monday and check to pick up the one out of the discussion board. It'll show up in discussion board for you to pick it up and review one of your peers. You'll do that. While you're doing that, was due in review in Dr. Barnes' shell at the end of week 2. And then for week 3, your final revision of that, if she says this needs to be fixed, goes in the evaluation Dropbox. During week 3, you will do the peer review, as I told you, and you'll drop it in the evaluation. You also put it back on the thread where you got it. Don't forget that part. And then you'll be working on your task 2 draft. It'll be due the following Sunday at 9, a week from that Sunday. And that will be the operation all the way through. Now, at the end of week 4, you will do your Zoom peer review. Now, the first person in each of those 4 teams that I put up tonight, the first person in there is the Zoom master for the first for this project. So you get to be the Zoom master, even though you don't, you lose using Google. We'll call it the Zoom master. You're the one that gets everybody together, sends out the email, and says, when can y'all meet, and y'all get together and do that. And so just follow the process here. At the end of week 7, you'll have all of them get put together. You'll submit to turn it in, check in Dr. Barnes' shell. She'll get the report and give you permission to submit for evaluation. Once you evaluate, you go to that scores results page, screenshot it, upload it over in Dr. Tobias's shell, and you're good. So this is the process. This is how it works. You get, we give you an extra weekend on the first one, but yeah, you crank out a task a week, and you'll do that pretty much, you'll get a little more time in the spring, but in the summer, we'll be back to cranking out one a week. And I don't think that you'll crank out. I think your time's going to be pretty much this way every semester. So that's the standard, is you get a week to do these. Well, I told you it takes 20 hours a week, every week. So here is your pacing guide. So let's talk about what cell is and isn't. So in Dr. Barnes' shell, she has these exact same things. And so you've got, let me switch over to hers. Of course, you got in your class shell as well here. You've got your materials to start your app cell. So what is the app cell about? So I'm going to start out with task and prompts. All right. So the app cell is analysis and action plan for student learning. Short form is you're going to form a PLC. Now, first question I get is, Dale, do I really have to form a PLC? If you lead a current academic PLC, then you can use it. Now, there's 2 things that I said there that are key. And so I'm going to go off of share here, so you can see my beady little eyes behind my glasses. It must be an academic PLC, and you must be the leader. You can't be sitting in the back of the room, snowbirding, and say, well, I'm already a member of a PLC. Or do you lead that PLC? Well, no, I'm a member. Well, then you got to create your own, or you got to take the leadership of that existing one. And it must be academic. And no, it can't be behavior. Please don't be one of those people who are stupid enough to believe that if kids behave better, they'll learn more. No, they won't. They'll learn more if you teach them more. Just get them to behave will not make them learn a damn thing. If you want them to learn more, you have to teach them more. That's number one. And then don't be that stupid person that thinks our academic, our behavior and academic plan this year is to put uniforms on kids. They ought to make you wear a helmet and a sign if you're that stupid. Kids wearing uniforms are just kids behaving badly, dressed similarly. If you want kids to learn more, you must teach them more. That's the way this works. So no, you can't do discipline. No, you can't do something that you know, some other thing. This one is only about student learning. You will analyze your standardized test scores that are available on the state report card. And you will find gaps in those. That's what your PLC is going to do. They're going to find gaps in those, you know, which subgroups are not doing well, you know, what's not going on here. And then you're going to develop a plan to address that. It's called closing the gap. So in task one, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to form a PLC. We got to do some PLC research. So let me share my screen, and all these materials are right there waiting on you. Let me go back to my screen. All right. You've researched the tenets and function of the professional learning community and assume a leadership role in developing a PLC, research, analyze data, and present a suggested course of action to the administrative team. And so we can go down right here. Become an ed who demonstrates. Okay, so what you're to do right here in green, it tells you this is what you do. You research it. You research the tenets of norms, values. We're talking about Richard DeFore and professional learning community. Dr. Balknight is actually going to work with you later on how PLCs are done in Gaston County and how they want them led from the principal perspective. She'll cover that with you when she teaches you curriculum in 604. But this is the base level. How do you go about setting one up? You read all the stuff from Richard DeFore. It's right there in your shell. It's in both of your shells. You know, what is a professional learning community, how to set one up, you know, all those Bandura and all these more modern people, all that stuff is right there for you. And then, and so you do that, you do your PLC research, you know, you set up your norms and values, you have your first meeting. That's what you do. Again, must be academic, must be a PLC that you either form and lead or take the leadership role in one that's already existing, one or the other. Task 2, you lead your team to do a data dive of all the standardized test scores for your school to look for gaps. Task 3, once you have figured out, okay, here's our problem. Our problem is reading fluency. That's our problem. Our reading scores are terrible, and it's a fluency problem because we have so many kids who are English is their second language. So our problem is reading fluency, not comprehension. Our problem is reading fluency. So my literature review would be about reading fluency. And when I start doing my literature review, I see, well, you know, everybody talks about phonics. That's the key to fluency is phonics. And so then I do my annotated bibliography on studies that had used phonics to try to improve reading for English as second language students in a school that looks similar to mine. Now, don't pull a Harold. I work with a principal in one of the districts I work with. I know Harold didn't read this study because Harold couldn't really read, even though he was the principal. Somebody read him this study about that he decided to do at his school, except he was in a rural school, and the study came from a private New England Catholic school. Yeah, they were both had the same grade level. They didn't look anything alike. The key to the program was the program was to have stay-at-home moms who could come to school. There wasn't any of the mothers in his community that didn't have a job. They couldn't come to school. And then he wondered why the program didn't work. Don't be dumb as Harold now. Look at research, look at abstracts in your annotated bibliography of schools that look like yours. Don't say, well, this high school did this and it really worked well for them, but you're in elementary school. It won't work for you. Peer review, peer tutoring won't work in an elementary school like it might in a high school. So when you say my most pressing need is reading and the biggest problem is fluency, your literature review is on reading fluency, and then your annotated bibliography is on different phonics programs that different places have tried that have worked for them. And so that's what that is. And then in 4, you write your action plan and you summarize it in the graphic organizer to have a quick and dirty. Administrators like to have quick and dirties. They like to have hacks or cheats or cheat sheets. And you put it together, and then in task 5, you will elaborate on your experiences, and you will tell us how you met the competency in the 12 defined areas. And so here are your tasks and prompts. We've got them color coded, but this is not the easy. We've got a template for you here that you can actually already write on. Let's see, what is this one? Now, this is the first test. I mean, we were talking about this earlier tonight, just like I was asked about, was this a test to get your, to schedule this with your principal? Would ask me that earlier. Well, this is your first test on evidence. Is your name here? That means put your name there, and we've got everything highlighted that you need. We tell you what it should be. You simply take yours out, mine out, and put yours in. You can write directly on this, and then these tell you what your heading should be. Right on down the line here. And here's your action plan graphics organizer. Don't do this. Forget I even put that in there. I don't like perk charts. They just make me mad. And then here's how you write a competency at the end. Everything is there. This is not linear enough for me. If y'all hadn't already figured out, I'm a concrete sequential. I am not an abstract random. I like this. I don't like this. Not very many administrators are abstract random. They end up being curriculum people, and those egghead smart people. They don't become school administrators. They're too smart for that. But creativity only gets you trouble in school administration. You think you have discretion. I couldn't even get that out without laughing. You have no discretion in school administration. Just follow the rules. Dr. Barnes, from her experiences and from mine, first thing you learn in the military is find the manual. Second thing you learn is read the manual. But the third and final thing you learn is follow the manual. Find, read, and follow the manual. That's what we do in school administration. Don't think you're hurting the team here. Follow the directions, follow the rules. That's what this is. It shows the relationship. Here's what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, who's going to be responsible, what we need to do it with, money and people, how we're going to do the formative assessment. That means of the adults. That's the fidelity check. How are we going to assess it at the end? We're going to take the state test. What's our goal? Well, 85% pass rate. What's the indicator of success? Going up 5 points this year from 75 to 80. One of the mistakes. Pardon?
I'm just going to add that do not change this graphic organizer and try and condense it or change it up, because as soon as you do, you're not answering all of the questions that we're looking for in that particular section. So then what I'll do is I'll just send that same graphic organizer back to you and say, if you go ahead and fill in each part, each column, then you will have answered everything that we're looking for in this particular section. So please don't change the graphic organizer. We literally, those of us that grade, we know what the next grader is looking for. So what we do is we literally go by this exact template. And later on, you won't get templates for everything. But for this, when we give you a template, we look for everything that is in the template. We go step by step. So Dale has trained us for some time now as to what he's expecting at the end. All right.
And I base that on, I monitor the state graders. I see what they like and what they don't like. I see what they send back. I attend the state boards on Friday morning, virtually or by podcast. And all this stuff is covered in that, what they're looking for. And we don't ever want our stuff sent back. We want you to get top scores. We want it sent back. This mimics the school improvement plan template that you will get from your district, the things that the state requires be in there. That's why Lisa said, don't change this. Again, there is no discretion. Follow the rules here. Follow the plan. Now, let me make sure that everybody understands when we say resources, there's two types. There's fiscal and there's human. Fiscal means how much money and resources, how many people. But don't say, well, we've already got the people. No, but somebody's having to pay them. So we need to know how many people and how much money. Now, these last four is where everybody gets in trouble. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time, and I'm watching our time here. Here's the problem we get into. People don't understand formative versus summative assessment, goal versus indicator of success. These are couplets. That means pairs. And so here's what you got to understand about the first pair. Formative is not giving the kids a test at midterm and then summative at the end of the year. No, that's not formative in a summative assessment. Formative assessment is not of the kids. It's of the adults that you're paying to do what you ask them to do. It doesn't do any good to say, we're going to teach this, and everybody goes to the room to check, make sure they're teaching that. Now, I'll give you the classic example. A long time ago in a land far, far away, I was an elementary principal. If you can believe that, I was an elementary principal. And for some reason, dogs and kids love me. I have no clue why. I'm just as surprised as you are, trust me. But when I was an elementary principal, back in the days of the California Achievement Test, some of you might be old enough to remember that. The California Achievement Test, which was prior to 1991. So I was a principal back prior to then when we started, in 1990, we started performance-based accountability in North Carolina. But prior to that, we used the California Achievement Test, and I was an elementary principal. And I was having the time of my life. I loved every day of it. But what would happen is we would have textbook adoptions for reading, and the guys in the truck would bring them out from the warehouse. They'd bring out your reading adoptions. Y'all all stand around and talk about the ball games and that kind of stuff. Because I was an elementary principal, I was the only man on campus. Even the custodian was a lady. And so when the guys came out from the maintenance shed, we'd stand around and talk, and they'd roll the books down to the book room. I'd unlock the door, they'd roll them in, and I'd pull the door closed and lock them. And the books would sit there all year long. And at the end of the year, when we took the California Achievement Test, we'd say, dang, that reading adoption wasn't any better than the last one. Nobody ever bothered to go down to the rooms to see if they were actually using those books. That's a fidelity check. That's what you have to do. Just because we tell people to go and do stuff, that doesn't mean they're going to do it. That's why they hire you as school administrators to make sure they go and do it. If everybody did what you told them, we wouldn't need school administration. We just have a school with just teachers, because everybody go to the room and do the right thing. That never happens. Never. Formative assessment is a fidelity check to make sure that the adults that you hired are presenting the program as planned. How many times do you see people who we're going to have this new initiative at our school or in our district, and somebody takes it to the room and does something completely crazy with it? Well, this is how I wanted to do it. No, there is no discretion. We need for you to follow how this works. And so always in any plan that you build as a school administrator, you've got to have a fidelity check, a formative assessment of the adults to make sure they're doing what they say they're going, that you told them to do. And then summative assessment is to assess the kids at the end of the grading period or at the end of the year, whichever it is. And we have to know what that's going to be. Well, it's going to be, it's going to be I-class data, or it's going to be in the course or integrated test. And that's what we're looking for. Now, what's the difference between a goal and an indicator of success? A goal is where you want to be eventually. It's kind of like long term. Eventually, we want 85% of our kids reading on grade level. But right now, we're at 55. We can't say if we don't go from 55 to 85 in 1 year that our year wasn't a success. If we made 5 points, which is one standard deviation, if we went from 55 to 60, we've had a great year. So our goal might be 85 eventually, but our indicator of success would be to go from 55 to 60 this year. One of the biggest problems in school administration is that we're unrealistic. I mean, if I went down to Marsha's classroom and I told her, you got to improve your scores by 20 points this year in reading in her classroom, you'd think, well, he's a village idiot. Some village is missing their idiot. I'm expecting some fellows in a net and a white truck to come, be looking for him. There's no way I can move 20 percentage points in 1 year, and she's exactly right. on a normative reference test like integrate or intercourse test, well, intercourse is actually criterion reference, but they're all based on a normal distribution. That means 5 points every standard, 5 points is a standard deviation. Anytime you get more than two standard deviations of growth, somebody has manipulated something. That means they're cheating. That's number 7 on Dale's way to cheat with data. When I teach, my real gig is I teach doctoral statistics. Don't tell anybody. It would ruin my reputation as a common man. But that's number 7 on the list of how you cheat. There was a high school not far from between where you and I are tonight. Y'all are in Gaston County. I'm in Rutherford County. Somewhere between us, maybe not the exact linear line, but geographically between us, there was a high school that jumped 20 points in 1 year. There's 3 high schools in the county. There was a low, middle, and high. The upper high school had the doctors, lawyers, Indian chief, because it's in the town seat, the county seat. Had the hospital and the courthouse. They always scored 75% on grade level. The middle high school was down at the other end where all the businesses were. They scored 65. And then the lower end, the more rural high school with the poor kids, always scored 55. Had forever. Got a new principal at the middle high school. They went from 65 to 85 overnight. It was a miracle. People came from far and wide. It was the same as this water stain of the baby Jesus on the wall over in Turin in Italy. I mean, it was, people came just like that. They had flights coming in just so people could see the miracle. 4 standard deviations in 1 semester. I mean, and people went and looked and said, we don't get it. They're not doing anything. It's all kind of sitting around. Well, it's very simple. That 2-week period, but the tests came but were supposedly locked away in the testing center. So they just get the test and run it off and call it a study guide and hand it out to the kids. So what did the kids and the teachers do all semester long waiting on the study guide? They just, everybody was just chill, on their phones and talking quietly, waiting for the study guide 2 weeks before the test came. And we're just knocking the top out of the test. What happened when Common Core came along? We went back to the original testing rules, like when I was a principal in Charlotte. You go pick it up as principal that morning. Your teachers are waiting in the cafeteria. You hand it to them. You stand there and wait. And as they finish them, they can bring them back to you. And by lunchtime, you've already taken them back over to staff development. They're graded by 1 o'clock. They're only on campus long enough to be taken. Well, we went back to the old rules when Common Core came. Guess what happened? So here's your first statistics test. So the other 2 scored what they always had when Common Core came. They scored, the top school scored 75, the bottom school scored 55. The one that scored 65 and it jumped 4 standard deviations to 85. Guess what happened? Did they fall back down to 65 again?
They fell below it.
They fell below. Why? They'd stopped teaching and learning. How far did they fall?
5-10 points probably.
They fell from 85% on grade level to 27%.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
27% on grade level. And the new principal got a new job over at the bus garage. That's where you have to go when you get in timeout, you have to go to the bus garage. They got a new job over at the bus garage. There was no miracle. There is no miracle, folks. There is no Cadillac in the bottom of there is no Coupe de Ville hiding in the bottom of a Cracker Jack box, to quote Meatloaf. There is no miracle. There is no water stain of the baby Jesus' face on the wall. It's just teaching and learning, folks. And if you say I can make 4 standard deviations in 1 year, you have to be cheating. It can't be done. Now, I understand the kurtosis, the tails of the normal distributed curve. I understand that they don't ever touch the x-axis. So that means it's not impossible, but the probability is more than 1 trillion to 1 that you could do that. Now that line the tail of the curve, the normal the bell-shaped curve will never touch the x-axis, but they're so close you can't blow smoke between them. That's what I'm telling you. It's 1 trillion to 1 that something like that could happen. They didn't change students. They didn't change teachers. They didn't change curricula. How could you make 4 standard when the only thing you do is brought in a new principal? Does the principal teach anybody? That would be no. And so we have to be realistic when we're setting our action plans. our growth plans, our marketing plan, our cultural competency plan, all the plans that we do throughout this program. We will have you determine these same kinds of things. You must have formative assessment. You must check on the adults. That's what your job is. They hire you to check on the adults and have critical conversations with them. And the second is you can have a goal that's seemingly unattainable, but your indicator of success cannot be. We can't hold people accountable to make impossible gains. We have to be realistic or we lose all credibility as administration. If we walk into Marsha's classroom or Daphne's classroom or Shylane's classroom or Laura's classroom and say, you got to get 4 standard deviations, you got to go up 20 percentage points this year, we lose all credibility because we know that can't be done. So that's why it's important. Do not change that graphic organizer and understand the functions. Now, my gift to you, again, your first gift tonight was 1 video peer review and just one of each of the tasks. The second gift to you tonight is this document here. This helpful hints document, it tells you everything that I've told you tonight. I've taken notes for you. Here they are, right here. If you can't follow these, then you have a reading problem. Right down the line. This is in both of your shells. Everything that I have told you tonight is right here. All the notes are right here. You have the template, you have examples. Let's look at an example. You have an edited example here. Here's your research. Here's your PLC selection. And you need to have a process. Of course, you'll learn that when you do your PLC research. And by process, I don't mean eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or she was my friend. There should be a reason why you should give the credentials, and then you summarize the meeting that you had where you went over your norms and values, your data collection process, present your data in figures, you do that, your most pressing need, and then you do your literature review on that need, and then you do your annotated bibliography on the best solution. That the literature, again, the need is reading fluency, lit reviews on fluency in reading, annotated bibliographies on phonics, which is the most common remedy for that problem, right on down the line. So you've got the materials here. You've got everything that you're going to need is right here, right now. Now, we do use APA. We have some, the main thing to know about APA, and we've got the materials here right in your shells. We've got a PowerPoint. Right here's a really good PowerPoint. This is the thing you should start with right here from Dr. Hamilton, is the APA PowerPoint from her. It summarizes the whole APA manual for you in like 2 minutes. Here's the main thing to know about APA. It's now first person active voice. I did this, I did that, rather than what used to be third person, the candidate, and passive voice. It's first person active now. I did this, I did that. You're just telling your story now. How much easier is that? And the other is all charts, tables, and graphs. Let me say that again. All charts, tables, and graphs are not called charts, tables, and graphs. They're labeled as figures. They're all figures. And you figure one, this, and you have a sentence that says figure one. This is our 6th grade math scores. You just tell what it is. There it is. What that figure is, you just tell us what it is. Now you don't have to tell us. I mean, you just have to have a legend that identifies what it is. If you keep those 2 things in mind, APA is really easy. And that PowerPoint from Dr. Hamilton, It's quick and dirty. Here's the things you need to make sure you know. Look at the example, follow the helpful hints, which are Dale's notes for doing this. You've got the templates, you can just put your work in. It looks like a lot, but once you figure out, well, most of this stuff is just redundant. There's different pieces for different kinds of people. Different people learn different ways. And what we've done over the years, we've developed alternative type materials. There's 4 or 5 different things you say, do I have to follow? No, you pick the one that you want to follow. If you work best off a template, if you work best off of notes, helpful hints, if you work best looking at an example, I don't care how you learn, I just care that you learn. And whatever it takes for you to do that is what we'll do. So we have varying kinds of materials. You say, well, these are saying the same thing. Well, yeah, but it says it and shows it in a little bit different format because we're trying to find. And so what you will find is we'll have this kind of stuff for a while, and then we'll have a little less. And then when you get to me in 603, you won't have anything from me but a hell and hearty handshake. You'll get no templates. You'll get, you know, we're not real big on sympathy when we get to the law course. By then you'll have to pick it, you know, you'll have to be trotting by then, ready to break out into a run. Because I'll simply give you the task and prompts on a formatted paper for the OMA. And that's all you'll get. You won't get any notes. You won't get any of that stuff. I'll cover it with you, but you won't get all this stuff in there. And then when you get to the skip and the next one, you don't even get the template. You don't even get a piece of paper. It's make your own. You got to be learning this stuff as you go. But when in the beginning here, we're bombarding you with extra materials, not because, no, find the one that vibrates sympathetically with you. Oh, I understand this. This is what they want by looking at that. That's what we want. So we've got various different materials that we do. And we work every semester as a group in 601. I work and coach with them. How do we get better? How do we get students to catch on faster? How do they get this quicker? You know, the faster you get started, the further you can go in the program. So, all right. Questions you have for me. Now, here's the good news. I mean, the hits just keep coming. The news gets better and better. I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Barnes, and I won't be bothering y'all on Tuesday nights. Y'all get to go on your own with Dr. Barnes and Dr. Tobias. I will see you Saturday afternoon. My doctoral course, I'm going to let them out. They love you already. I'm going to let them out at 1 o'clock on Saturday, so I can be with y'all. I'll be there at 2:30 Saturday afternoon over at the Raider Center. And so y'all are already a hit with that group. They're going to get out at 1 o'clock on Saturday night, spend all day with me. But I will see you there on Saturday. And y'all be back in class with Dr. Bias on Tuesday night. Next Thursday, it'll be with you and Dr. Barnes. She'll answer any questions. She knows this stuff better than I do. She's had to hang around me all these years. You know, she's my youngest daughter. She's been with me for what, over 20 years now? Right.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, she was just a little shaver when she started hanging out with me. Oh, she's still young, but she's been with me for a long, long time. So she knows more than I do. She does this every day. She has, to say that I'm proud of her would be an understatement. But but she didn't learn this from me. A lot of this she already knew. But she has taken what she's learned in these programs at Gardner Webb, and she has multiplied her career and done these things. She is an example of where you can go if you work hard and pay attention. And so that's why I love for her to work with us. She knows her business and she knows this stuff, but she's also motivational. Should be that you can make it. You don't that everybody she's just an example. I mean, of one of the folks who came through our program. There's a lot of them, but she's just one of them that has done a great job and continues to do a great job and contributes back to you and wants to contribute back to you because somebody contributed to her along the way. And that's the biggest part of, that's kind of my swan song, the benediction in the background, you should be able to hear, just as I am playing now. We're at the benediction. You should want to give back. That's the reason why you're in this program. You should want to give back. It's not a negative. It's the best job in the world, and you should want to give back and make things better. And so the folks that we have working with you do that. They're excellent at their jobs. They're award winners. They know their business. You're in good hands. I'm just a crazy old man that rants and raves. But these folks, they know their stuff. And so if you haven't scheduled a meeting with me and your principal, again, only takes about 10 minutes with the principal. And unless you have a bunch of questions, it doesn't take but another 10 or 15 with you. And so make sure that we get these scheduled. I've got times Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. Try to get one of those. If not, we'll probably have to skip till at least Friday. I'm off the air on Thursday, but get that done. Dr. Barnes, I'm going to turn it over to you. And for whatever you've got next, we stayed a little bit late tonight. Of course, we know the first night. Now, my guess is you're planning to try to do an hour with them every week after this first week.
I can assure you that you will be out in an hour when I start on Thursdays, okay? And the other thing is, do not feel like you have to wait until our next class to contact me. I gave you my cell number for a reason. You can contact me at any time. That's the whole reason why I gave it to you, is because you may need to meet with me one-on-one during Zoom. I'll begin to hold like office hours on Sunday sometimes if you feel like you need that. But I'm going to make sure that I'm available for you when you need me. So send me a text, say, hey, I need to do a one-on-one Zoom because I have some questions about this, or pick up the phone and call me. I'm absolutely okay with that, all right? Don't feel like you have to wait till the next class. That's it for me. I'm looking forward to working with you. And we're gonna get you through this. I know it seems like it's a lot, but I can assure you, no one is going to be, is not gonna finish this course. We're gonna make sure that all of you finish it.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. Prayers for our classmates. Savannah, she's ill right now. She got in touch with me earlier today. Prayers for her. We'll make sure that we don't leave her behind. My point is, if she's a little later than some of you, then pick somebody else's work. Don't get caught in that trap of waiting. We have too many that do that. God. If somebody's available, peer review it and move on. We're not being hard-hearted here. We're going to do all we can to keep Savannah caught up. But I emailed her back today and told her, do not attend if you're sick. This is all recorded. And Dr. Barnes is willing to work with her. But and then the same goes for all of you. If you get sick, let us know. There's no shame in that, and we will work with you. We'll do whatever it takes. I can get involved again. Not that I'm much help, but I can get involved again. And we'll do what it takes to get you through. Thank you for your time and your attention. I finished before 2 hours. Look at that. Miracles do happen. I'll see you Saturday. Everybody have a good week. Thank you.
Take care.
Stay safe, you guys.
Bye.